So it has dawned upon me that I do not have a build of my latest Red Eyes deck on my channel. I distinctly remember making it and recording it, but I guess I never posted it. And it's gone now. So let's do something about that. What's going on, YouTube? This is ParkerLad88 coming at you with another deck profile, and today, of course, we're going to be deck profiling Red Eyes. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started with that monster count. We're going to start by running 2 copies of the OG Red Eyes Black Dragon. We're going to follow that up with running 2 copies of Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon. This is your burner guy. Whenever you attack with him, he has an Inferno Fire Blast built right into them. I feel that 2 and 2 will always be the best ratio of Red Eyes. I feel if you're running any more or any less than 4, then you're probably, in my opinion, not running the most optimal build, and I will explain why. Running extra Red Eyes more than this puts extra dead cards in your hand that you don't need. Unlike all the other Legacy support that came out around the same time Red Eyes did, the Buster Blader, the Dark Magician, and the Blue Eyes, they all want their monsters in their hand so you can advance your game state. Red Eyes don't. They're all about graveyard management. Putting Red Eyes in your graveyard, special summoning from grave, special summoning from deck with Blackstone of Legend, and keeping stuff on board. Unless you have a way to get these out of your hand in some way, shape, or form, it's not worth running. So in my opinion, this is the best thing to do. Okay, so we have 3 copies of the Blackstone of Legend. I see a lot of builds running 2. I don't understand why. It gets you a free Red Eyes on board, and you can just allure away the rest of them. I mean, one of Red Eyes' issues is their inconsistency, so wouldn't you want a way to get to your Red Eyes, like, you know, faster? We also have 1 copy of Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Oh yeah, also this can recycle things too, which is also good. Kind of goes into that whole graveyard management thing I was talking about. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, he's the boss monster. We have 1 Black Metal Dragon. You can equip it to a Red Eyes monster in order to make it big, and it also surges when sent to graveyard. And 1 King of Bio in order to revive it, or in order to revive the Blackstone of Legend to keep on using the Blackstone of Legend. We also use this to go for Beast Eyes. And then 2 copies of our last 2 dead cards are Summon Skull and Meteor Dragon Red Eyes Impact. So Meteor Dragon Red Eyes Impact has a very mediocre protection effect that says it protects all other things from being destroyed by card effects in battle, except for, you know, itself, which is very unfortunate. We run these because, well, we have to run the fusions, because that's the build we're running. Alright. So, really low monster count, 12, because you never really want to see the monsters, except for the Blackstone of Legend, so we want to make sure to maximize on getting to our spells and traps. The first of which is Red Eyes Insight. Not only does it set up your graveyard with Red Eyes, but also gets you closer to your spell traps. The main one being this one, Red Eyes Fusion. Lets you fusion summon from your deck, the monster becomes Red Eyes, and you can't do anything afterwards. It is the deck's greatest strength and weakness at the same time. That being said, a lot of people don't have experience playing Red Eyes, so it's not that big of a deal. You cannot normal summon or special summon when you activate this card. It's unfortunately why it's the deck's biggest strength and weakness. That being said, it is still a good card. I run it at 3 because if I see it on my opening hand, it means I can use Red Eyes Insight in order to search for something else. 3 copies of Allure in order to power through to our traps. We have 2 copies of Cards of the Redstone for the same reason. Power through our traps, try and get some of those dead cards out of your hand, like Summon Skull or anything like that, if we just happen to draw into them. Also, if anyone has an Ultra, let me know. For our revivals, we have 2 copies of Silver Scry and 1 copy of Return of the Dragon Lords. I don't know if there's a favored ratio for this. This is what I like the best. I find that if I run too many of these, that I'll end up getting these and I won't have a way to put a Red Eyes in graveyard in order to special summon back. The reason why I run Silver's Cries over Return of the Dragon Lords is, like I said, Red Eyes Fusion. Red Eyes Fusion says you can't do anything else, normal summon or special summon, when you activate it. So I always want to make sure I can have access to a Red Eyes monster during my opponent's turn so I can control my traps. This is good, but in the same turn I activate Red Eyes Fusion, which is what I want to do most of the time, this doesn't help. But it's still good. There's protection to all my dragons, and I can use it to revive Meteor Dragon, or Meteor Black Comet Dragon, so that's pretty cool. we have Twin Twisters to get Red Eyes out of our hand and get rid of that pesky back row. 1 for 1 for the same reason, get Red Eyes out of our hand in order to get advantage, usually is to get the Blackstone. And then we have 1 Dragon Triumph, because sometimes this card is actually still useful, even though we have other ways to get Red Eyes into our graveyard between the fusion spell, and the searching card. Sometimes you need to get that Blackstone, so that's why we're going to want that. And that does it for all of our spells. Very heavy spell lineup. We want to see our spells and our traps the most, and we don't want to see our monsters that much. One other note about cards with the redstone, it's kind of specific, but when you get it off, it's really good. So I think it warrants running it too. Traps. 1 Red Eye Spirit, 1 Return of the Red Eyes. I used to run this at 2, but I like this because this requires setup. This doesn't. If for some reason I don't have access to Red Eyes Fusion, which is the main way you set that up because this requires you to control Red Eyes, then you can just do that thing. This just says put a Red Eyes on board so we can control with our traps. And it also gives the opportunity to derive Darkness Metal, which is also nice as well. This only revives normals. This is the main card behind your board presence, because what you'll do is you'll use Red Eyes Fusion during your turn to, go for Meteor Black Comet Dragon, dump a bunch of Red Eyes, and then start special summoning back with this. It's very similar to Dark Magician that way, but it's just not as good, because Dark Magician, because they have the circle, every time they special summon something, they can vanish, so they're better at playing during your turn than Red Eyes are, but the same principle is there, at least the way I run this build. You set up, but you get a monster on board, and then you reborn stuff during your opponent's turn, which sets up the next card I'm going to talk about, which is Champion's Vigilance. It is my favorite trap, and it's one of the reasons why Red Eyes are actually, kind of decent. Because it says if you control a level 7 or higher normal monster, Solemn Judgment. No spells, no traps, no inherent summons of any kind. No normal, tribute, no flip, nothing. You get nothing from this. Like, no summons. I can't talk enough about this card. This was one of the reasons that I started, maining Red Eyes a long time ago, just because this offers you so much control between this, the Strikes, the Solemn, the Lost Winds, and the Skill Drain. Skill Drain is my personal tech because Red Eyes have big monsters that can beat over a lot of things, and a lot of stuff in the game right now is hurt by Skill Drain. Maybe not as much as it used to, but back during like Zodiacs and Wind Witches and blah 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 blah, you drop this behind a 3500 beater, like, what are they gonna do? Like, they lost all their advantage. So, first my little tech. Let's go ahead and move into the extra deck. We'll start off by running 2 copies of Red Eyes Foot and Ass Dragon. So what this guy does is whenever he's fusion summoned, you toss a Red Eyes from your deck to the grave and burn your opponent for its original attack. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you get a free normal out of your graveyard. He is your turn 1 fusion. He is the heart of your setup. You can dump 3 Red Eyes in your grave with this and Red Eyes Insight, which sets up your Return of the Red Eyes, part of your setup. We run 2 because basically with the Blackstone of Legend, you can cycle back Red Eyes Meteor Impact, and then you can just fuse for it again, so it warrants running it at 2. We also have 1 copy of Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. This is Red Eyes Pissed Off Dragon. So this one is your turn 2 fusion. Turn 1 fusion, turn 2 fusion. This guy says that your opponent cannot respond with card effects. They cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step when this guy attacks. Also, he also has the ability to target one of your Red Eyes normal monsters, shuffle it back in your deck, and burn your opponent for the original attack of the monster that you shuffle back. So he also can play a part in recycling your Red Eyes when you have too many, because there are plenty of times where you can dump like all 4 of your Red Eyes at one time, but you want to keep your Blackstones live, so you might activate a Blackstone effect in order to put it back in case if you have one in grave, or if you have one in your hand, you activate his ability to put one back, so that makes your Blackstone live, and you still have a bunch of Red Eyes in grave, so you can do, stuff. So, once again, turn 1, turn 2. Beast Eyes, like I said, Kinkabai lets you go for this. It's an easy 3k beer you don't have to fuse for. We have 3 copies of Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Red Eyes Black Flare Metal Dragon, or whatever the heck. Anyway, so we run 3 copies of this because our extra deck space is actually pretty broad. This is the reason why I feel that 4 is the best. If you run 3, you really don't get to abuse him because, you know, we have a 3 Allure of Darkness. Sometimes we have to foolish one away if it means, you know, getting us a better state. So sometimes we have to get rid of Red Eyes, but we still want to use that effect to special summon Red Eyes and keep advancing our board state. So this guy can't be destroyed by card effects, burns your opponent every time they resolve a effect, and just spell speed 2, special summon Red Eyes. I don't know why that effect is spell speed 2, but hey, I'm glad it is. Alright, more generic rank 7s. Draco Sack spawns tokens, can't be destroyed by battle or card effects when they have the tokens, and lets you clear out back row, basically. And here are my wonderful tokens that go along with that. The same tokens I use and all my things, but it doesn't stop them from being wonderful. 2 big eyes, because why not? It's the main way that, you know, I get out of stuff. Master of Blades, it's kind of handy. You target it, negate, destroy, detach, and you can blow up another card. Titanic Moth, like I said, my extra deck space is very broad. It's another 7, so that's why I run it. I actually have no idea what this thing does. I think you can detach from it to... Oh, no, wait, I remember what this thing does. Like, you can attack directly with this thing for half its original attack, and then you can, like, detach from this thing to, like, burn your opponent for some amount or something like that. You guys know what it does, I'm sure. And then we have Slacker Magician and Downward Magician. Downward Magician clearly is just to overlay for Slacker Magician, and hey, if I need to stall, I have Slacker Magician. I can just overlay 2 1s to do this. Usually King Caballo and like one of my other people, and I can just stall with this. So that's a thing. Anyway, guys, this is my updated Red Eyes deck. Let me know what you think of it, and I'll be back at you later with future videos. This is Parker Lad, out.